Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. How are you doing today? We are back with Dion from Dion Talk. How you doing, buddy?
Howdy, Mike. I'm doing great. Ready for round 3.
There you go, round 3. I love this. So, hey, I got a message from a newer investor, and I think this is a growing theme, actually. There's a lot of negativity out in the world today, right? Eviction moratorium, CDC, cancel rent. Then we have YouTube channels that just spout doom and gloom, and they're big. I have no idea how they get so big preaching negativity, but whatever. So anyways, this individual reached out and basically said, I'm too nervous. I'm too scared. I can't get started. Basically help. Basically help. Am I being an idiot? So when you sense people want to do it, but they're like nervous, I mean, how do you have that conversation?
It's a great question because I just had this conversation with a friend a couple of weekends ago.
Cool.
And you're right. There are a lot of YouTube channels that spout the doom and gloom because it gets views.
I guess.
I have a video coming out literally, Mike, the minute we are recording this.
Oh, nice.
So it says 2021 housing crash is crossed out, and it says correction. And then I go over why I see kind of a correction over the next few months. And you and I have talked about it a little bit with the fear of 1031 going away and capital gains doubling. There's going to be a little bit more inventory. And so that video probably won't get a lot of views because people don't want to see the crash crossed out. They want to see the crash coming because then we can buy everything on sale.
It's on sale.
So I get why
Black Friday sale. Woohoo!
I get why the content providers make videos on crashes. And since I don't believe one's coming, I won't make that video.
Yeah,
at least not today. But the person who is afraid of buying right now with moratoriums in place, and I went to a friend's house, and my friends watch your channel. So I'm not calling out my friends who disagreed with me. I'm just going to talk about the conversation. A friend who is doing really well, has saved up some money to buy a rental, was asking me for some advice, and some other friends, one who has retired and has over 30 units and is retired off of his rental income. Nice. And another who has, I think, 3 to 5 units or something, and she's on her way to financial freedom with rental units.
Cool.
The couple who asked me, how do you get started? What does this look like? I was giving a Dion talk to them on here's how I see the savings, how you get your credit score worked out, how you contact a lender to find out what you qualify for and narrow down your niche and what you're investing in. And the people who are financially free off of rental properties chimed in with, yeah, but right now is a really bad time to do it because nobody's paying rent and you can't kick them out. That was the actual sentence that came out of someone's mouth.
Wow.
Okay. Which is a good thing to be afraid of because it is entirely a potentiality that somebody is not paying rent and they can't be kicked out.
Oh, yeah.
If you ignore all of the ways that somebody can violate a lease and still be kicked out, just they can't be kicked out for not paying their rent. So correct. They were factually correct. So I asked the casual question, I have at the time 14 units. Now I have 16. I have never had a later missing payment. I asked my friend who has 30 units if he has, is everybody not paying? And he says he has one that's, like you've said in the past, playing games.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have anybody with later missing. And I said, so of everyone that we know, even I know someone like Michael Zuber, who is the author of One Rental at a Time and has 180 units. Yep. He has 1 or 2 out of 180 units that are having problems. So it's a factor that you consider in your investing. I would think, yes, I might want a little more in my reserves right now when I'm buying a property. I recently went through the emotional experience of the fear of investing myself. I closed on a duplex 8 days ago. And I dropped off a letter of introduction. I'm the new owner. Here's how you contact me for problems. I don't have a property management company, so I will have myself or handyman come to solve some problems, and I need to get your contact info. No response. I left my email, my phone number, text me, email me. Nothing. That I dropped those off Thursday, nothing Friday, nothing Saturday. Sunday, I went to the property, car parked there, knocked on the doors, no answer. I'm thinking I could have possibly just bought a duplex where they're never going to pay the rent and I can't kick them out until the eviction moratorium is up, which meant I might have to carry a mortgage for however many months it takes for the moratorium to be up, or to me to find an alternate lease violation that lets me legally get rid of the tenant. And it was Memorial Day weekend, or whatever holiday we just had. I think that was what it was. And they were out of town. And Monday night they called me, and they had great people, both talked to me, both paid their June rent that night. One Venmo'd, and the other one had me come pick up a check. So all of that stress that I went through as an investor with almost 10 years of experience was there. That's a real thing.
It is.
We have emotion.
Yeah.
But quantify it mathematically. How many months do I think I could have to carry a mortgage? And when it's your first rental, that's a lot more fear than when it's your units 15 and 16, because then my next month might not be as good, but I wouldn't be losing money.
Right. Yeah.
Increased reserves. There is some validity to the idea of buying a vacant property, which is not what I do. I prefer to usually buy rent ready or already occupied properties, but that way they could screen the tenants themselves.
Sure.
But for me, the solution is slightly bigger reserves and making sure that it is a great deal. Don't buy good or average, like you say all the time.
Yeah.
For that great deal.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things when I hear this, because I hear it a lot. I've heard it a lot more the last 6 months than I've heard the last 6 years. But first thing I just want to realize is being a landlord is not for everyone, right? One rental at a time is my story. I believe it's a fantastic way to build wealth. But just like all investments, it's not for everyone. If being a landlord is going to keep you up at night because all you're doing is thinking about the things that could go wrong, do something else. Go buy index funds, go buy REITs, go do something else. Your quality of life, your stress level should not go up by being a landlord, right? So if that's just who you are, it's how you're wired, right? Especially if you're buying out of state, I couldn't imagine, right? Out of state, don't know it, no team. If you're doing it because it's cheap, trust me, you can go broke with cheap. It's okay. I'm willing to admit that being a landlord's not for everyone. That's my first answer, right? Because some people just, I don't know if they like to worry, they're just wired that way. Does that make sense?
It does. And it brings me back to one of my favorite things a tenant ever said to me. We were signing the lease, and she brought up a lot of what ifs. You know, she doesn't want to own a property because the tenant can call with a complaint. The toilet could be clogged. Somebody might not pay their rent. So she was telling me why she likes to be a tenant. And I was thinking, this is great. This is the relationship we want.
Yeah.
And she said, my uncle had 14 rentals, and it was so much work, he had to quit his job. And she said it like that was such a bad thing.
I'm like, what?
So you're right. Being a landlord is not for everybody. And that person is a great tenant.
Absolutely.
Been there for several years now, has an 830 credit score. I've never had an issue.
That's awesome.
And she doesn't have to be a property owner. So
no,
we
she
get
doesn't
to both get what we want.
There you go. Yeah. The other thing, again, so just realizing you don't have to be a landlord. One rental at a time is great, but not for everyone. The other one is I want to tell everybody that the last 12 or 14 months have been the hardest of my 20-year career. They have. But now let's put numbers on it. My rent collection, no month dipped below 95%. Most months were over 96%. Now, rent collection in my market pre-crisis, by the 5th was about 95%. And then by the 10th, it was 97 or 98. I don't know what it is. There's always 5 people that pay late. I collect the late fee. So again, as we talked in video 1 or 2, it's like, I'm fine with that. You want to give me an extra $50? Fine by me. So my average rent, collected by the 15th was usually 97.5, 98%. So yes, I went down slightly. I gave away, or rent credit, or whatever you want to call that, probably $40,000 to $50,000 in rent over the last seemingly 18 months for people that were truly impacted, because I'm in a position where we could do that. That was a choice. But still 90 some odd percent collected, still cash flowing just fine. And oh, by the way, as we're coming out of this, rents are exploding higher. Oh my God, rents are exploding higher. Prices, Fresno is up 21 or 22% in the last 12 months. Let me just tell you, owning a lot of property in Fresno the last 14 months has been a good thing. So again, what I would tell people is, yes, the last 12 months have been hard. They've been the hardest of my career. But when you dig under the covers, not really all that bad.
Yeah. So if this has been the hardest time for you, I look forward to the next couple of years
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's not that the last 2 years have been super easy for me, barely like an inconvenience, but it hasn't been hard.
Yeah,
All of my deals are still from the MLS. I picked up a fourplex in January of 2020, a triplex in November of 2020,
that's
closed on
awesome.
a duplex last week. Looking for the next place now. So if this is what the hardest time looks
Yeah.
like, uh,
I hope people heard that. It's
one
been the
rental at a
hardest.
time
Yeah.
is for some people.
Oh, I
While
would
it's
tell
not for
you,
some people, it definitely is for some people.
I would tell you one rental at a time is for most people. If you're willing to do the work, again, on the MLS, no secret sauce, no mailers, no virtual assistants, none of this overhead, just looking 20 minutes a day, writing offers on great deals. If you get them, great. If you don't, you move on. There's always another deal. Rents are going to go up. I mean, your rents in a year will be 5 or 10% higher, and you already are financially free. I mean, the next several years will be very, very, very good for landlords. So again, if you look at this and all you want to hear is negativity, it's not for you. Totally cool. Don't stress yourself out. But for most of you, go get your 4 rentals. Fixed rate 30-year debt in an inflationary environment is going to be, you're going to see your net worth and your net income increase. It's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, the stress that can come with rental properties, it to me is microscopic compared to the stress of having one income source, a
Oh,
W-2 job that
yeah.
can go away because I can't keep up with the education for the skill set or some shift in
Yeah.
anything. When after Desert Storm, the Marine Corps downsized. In 2008, I was a police officer, and police departments laid off a bunch of officers. That doesn't happen with buy and hold rental properties.
There you go. Well, Deanne, how can people be a part of your world and join your channel now over 5,000 strong?
And I want to thank you for that. My goal when I got on Bigger Pockets was to actually talk about one rental at a time. Mentioned your book, mentioned your strategies, and I feel really honored that you have me come here and share what I've figured out so far. So part of my growth has definitely contributed to us collaborating together and trying to get this information to as many people as possible. Really looking forward to you hitting 20,000 here, which should be happening soon.
Hope so.
But my YouTube channel is Dion Talk Financial Freedom. I'm still small enough to answer every single question that comes up. So feel free to reach out. I like to help if I can.
Very cool, Deanne. Thank you very much.